We be live. Hello, everyone. Let me know how my audio is so that we could get started right away. Make sure you like the stream right now. Make sure that you leave a comment after the stream is over. All of this is very important because we need more people to be watching these programs so that more people are aware about the cancer that is spreading all around the world. And we need people to have we need them to have the counter narratives to be able to tackle them. So the more people watch these shows, the more we're going to be able to help push back against the spread of this disease. Okay, so please make sure that you like the stream, leave a comment after the show, that you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Again, if you're watching this on Twitter, make sure you come on YouTube on Atheist Republic and subscribe to us over there, and also share these streams. Today, I have a couple of videos that I'm going to quickly bring up and respond to. And again, all of these videos, by the way, thank you so much, Dolly, for all your hard work. And all of these videos here are viral. Like, these are videos that I'm showing you that are extremely popular. Right now, all of these are from TikTok. And I don't just pick them just to respond to them. I pick them because so that you guys hear my response and your response in the live chat. Dolly is highlighting your comments, but also for you guys to notice what are the videos that are working, because these are extremely popular. They got like hundreds of thousands of likes. Each one of them gets millions of views, thousands of comments of support. Again, I'm not going to give you the stats every time for each one of these videos, but just know that these videos have been picked because of their popularity. People are saying the audio is clear. Thank you so much, Dolly, for confirming that. And also, please confirm in the live chat that you have liked the stream. Okay, confirm in the live chat that you have liked the stream so that other people see that you've liked it, so that more people end up liking it as well. All right, cool. So let's bring up the first video. Okay, so this is an amazing start. Thank you for people who are saying that they like the stream. I appreciate that. I'm gonna just play this all the way through. Also, let me actually bring up the descriptions for each one of these videos so that I know what I'm reviewing, because Dolly has also provided a summary for each one of these, which is really, really, really helpful. Yeah, let me make sure I have everything ready. Okay, I'm just gonna play this all the way through. I am not going to respond to it until it's finished. Let me see how many. It's only 1 minute and 20 seconds. First, I'm just gonna listen to it, and I'm gonna look at you guys' reactions in the live chat. I'm gonna take my own notes so that I don't interrupt the video. And then once it's over, we will all respond to it together, and you guys will be part of the live stream as well, because Dolly is highlighting your comments. Okay, so let's see what this guy has to say.
Ain't nobody afraid of Muslim people anymore. The war on terror propaganda is not working. I've met a lot of Muslim people at this point in my life, and almost all of them were extremely kind, and a lot of them were super disciplined and focused, which is something that I respect a lot as a wrestler. Some of my favorite mixed martial arts fighters like Khabib Nurmagomedov are devout Muslims. Nowadays, we have white boys in the rural Midwest rooting for Muslims every UFC fight night. You're not going to be able to convince us that these people are evil and that our tax dollars need to be spent on bombing them. And you know who hasn't always been kind and friendly to me? Israelis, Zionists. I talked to some members of the IDF on Zoom. It took them about 5 minutes to start saying all Muslim people are terrorists. And to be clear, I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about supporters of the state of Israel, who, with their violent, unhinged, and rude behavior, are turning more and more people away from their cause, away from Zionism. Meanwhile, Muslim people with kindness and friendship are bringing more people towards the cause of Palestine. There were a bunch of students at the student protests recently who converted to Islam. And the mainstream media was like, look at this, see, America's being taken over by Muslims. Now I'm like, I don't blame those kids for converting to Islam at all. The Muslim students were probably super nice and super awesome and super welcoming. And they're like, hey, I'm going to side with these guys against the mostly secular genocidal monsters that we're protesting against. Shout out to all the Muslims.
All right, so there's a lot. It's like, that's 1 minute of so much garbage. It could take I could spend 1 hour on each one of these sentences. So let's just go from the beginning and then respond to it one sentence at a time. But again, people are noticing that he's wearing a commie shirt, a USSR shirt. Who's that? Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's not surprising. at all. But let's see what. Let me just go from the beginning and play it again.
Ain't nobody afraid of Muslim people anymore. The war on terror propaganda is not working. I've met a
All right, so there's nobody afraid of Muslims anymore. This would be a proper response to somebody who is maybe encouraging for you to be afraid of all Muslims, right? However, on this channel, we advertise being afraid of Islam, not Muslims. There are many good Muslims. Oh, but by the way, thank you for the super chats, guys. I will respond to them once between the videos. Thank you so much. There are many good Muslims, right? Our battle is with Islam. Our battle is not with Muslims. In fact, to be able to fight Islam, in order for us to be able to push back against Islamic narratives, we need to not be afraid of Muslims. I mean, at least the ones who are not directly violent. We need to, in order to push back against Islam, we need to actually go and talk to Muslims. So if you're saying nobody is afraid, first of all, you cannot generalize an entire group of people. Any group of people will have people in it that you need to be afraid of, right? So if you're generalizing people, whether good or bad, and talking about them as if you could like essentialize certain characteristics about some individual and attribute it to that entire group, you're wrong. It doesn't matter who you're talking about, right? That's about groups of people, but not regarding ideology. When it comes to the ideology of Islam, the teachings of Islam, it's not a generalization for you to say it's disgusting, it's violent, it's barbaric, it's backwards, because it is. And I will show you, especially about this specific topic that he's talking about, I will show you on the page what Islam teaches. Okay, so that's Islam. We will talk about Islam, and we will have no problem generalizing regarding Islam because it is generalizable. Their teaching is horrible and violent, and you should be scared of that. But when it comes to Muslims themselves, yes, we have good Muslims and we have bad Muslims, and we shouldn't be afraid of them because our fight against Islam requires us approaching them. Again, not the violent ones, but the rest of them. We need to. This is again, every time I say in this channel that this is not a military battle, just a military battle or a security battle. This is an ideological battle. And to win an ideological battle, you are required to talk to the people who disagree with you. So we can't afford to be afraid of Muslims because we need to be able to convince them out of this barbaric ideology. You are required to actually talk to Muslims. So yeah, I agree with, but he's straw manning, right? We have problems with Islam, and he's like, oh, nobody's afraid of Muslims anymore. Well, the narrative, at least the stronger narrative, is that we need to be afraid of Islam, not Muslims. And then he talks about the war on terror. The war on terror, that's a completely different thing. You're mixing things together. The war on terror is a war against terrorists. And if you are saying nobody is afraid of Muslims, the war on terror has failed, or whatever. Let me see what he said again. You are actually generalizing Muslims as if they're all terrorists. Actually, this is, now that I think about it, look at that. He's actually mentioning the war on terror as like, oh, like, let me see what he said exactly.
Ain't nobody afraid of Muslim people anymore. The war on terror propaganda is not working. I've met
the war on terror propaganda. Yeah, the war on terror is a war on terrorists. If you're saying the war on terror is not working and nobody is afraid of Muslims, you seem to be suggesting that all Muslims are terrorists. So yeah, that's not good. Don't do that. Okay, but the war on terror. So these are three different things: the war on terror, generalizing all Muslims, the war on Islam. Okay, two of these three things are good, and he's confusing all three of them together, right? We don't have war against Muslims. In fact, one of the main reasons that we have a war against Islam is for the sake of Muslims, because the main victims of Islam are Muslims, right? But the two other are good. So two out of these three things are good. War on Muslims, not good. War on Islam, pretty good. War on terror, pretty good.
a lot of Muslim people at this point in my life, and almost all of them were extremely kind, and a lot of them were super disciplined and focused, which is something that I respect a lot as a wrestler. Some of my favorite mixed martial arts fighters, like Khabib Nurmagomedov.
So he's trying to act like all Muslims are good. Again, all good. You cannot talk like that about any group of people. In fact, Muslims, here's the thing, okay? Muslims who are being nice to you, as a non-Muslim that you are not actually following Islam, right? And I will show you that. And here's the thing: they are, because Islam has not been able to corrupt their brains completely. Like, they are not completely taken over by Islam. So we have Muslims, we have good Muslims, and we have bad Muslims. The good Muslims are the ones who the virus of Islam has not completely taken over their humanity, right? They're still Muslim, but they haven't been fully infected. Because if they're being nice to you, they're not doing Islam properly. And I will show you that.
Of our devout Muslims. Nowadays, we have white boys in the rural Midwest rooting for Muslims every UFC fight night. You're not going to be able to convince us that these people are evil and that our tax dollars need to be spent on bombing them. And
yeah, they're not evil. They're good people, and that's why Islam is evil, because Islam, which is evil, is taking advantage of good people to spread its virus. It's like they're a host for a very dangerous virus. That's what they are, right? And their tax dollars is not being used to bomb innocent civilians or innocent Muslims. Your tax dollars is being used to bomb people who are attacking your way of life, your values, and other innocent people. If innocent people die because of it, it's right now, especially, it's mostly because there are other Muslims who are using their fellow Muslims as human shields, right? And also not doing a good job in protecting them.
you know who hasn't always been kind and friendly to me? Israelis, Zionists. I talked to some members of the IDF on Zoom. It took them about 5 minutes to start saying all Muslim people are terrorists. And to be
So look at the anecdotal. So he wants to generalize Muslims, all Muslims, as good people. And based on his experience, first of all, I suspect that his experience with some IDF soldiers being bad, based on the way he talks, is all my guess. I'm not sure, but I guess that if he was treated badly, it's because he was probably rude to them or something like that. And he's surprised that people are acting mean to him because after the way he responded. But I'm not sure. Maybe those IDF soldiers were actually a bunch of a-holes. But look how he generalizes all Israelis based on his experience that he had on a Zoom call, right? So he tries to lecture us for generalizing Muslims, and as an example, he talks about the war on terror, which doesn't generalize all Muslims. It's a war just on the terrorists, right? And so he wants to lecture us for generalizing all Muslims as evil, and which he shouldn't do that. But he himself comes and generalizes all Israelis. All Israelis. He specifically said Israelis, right? Because of a Zoom call that he had, and he had a bad experience with them. I mean, if we apply your standard to Muslims, you imagine Muslims threatening. I, as an ex-Muslim, have experience with Muslims threatening me and my family many, many times, right? You say you have not had that experience, which I would believe you. But you use your personal experience to generalize all Muslims. If I use your standard, then I should be able to generalize all Muslims and say that they're all threatening and dangerous. You talk to Muslims that were nice to you. I talk to Muslims that were nice to me, and I talk to Muslims that threaten me to kill me in the most brutal way possible. Again, YouTube, not my words. They promised me a miserable, slow death many, many times. So what should I do? Should I generalize that experience to all Muslims like you're doing to Israelis? Like, he specifically says Israelis in general.
about 5 minutes to start saying all Muslim people are terrorists. And to be clear, I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about supporters of the state.
No, look, you were talking about is not just support. You're talking Israelis in general. Look how he thinks that's better. He's like, oh, I'm not generalizing Jewish people. Oh, great. I'm just generalizing Israeli people. That is just as bad. I know a lot of people think that is not as bad because of our experience with anti-Jewish hatred in World War II, and that recent memory of how disgusting and vile that is, the anti-Jewish hatred. But why would that be worse than generalizing the entirety of the people of a country? That is the same thing. One is based on ethnicity, one is based on nationality. It's the same concept. I know our minds are disgusted more when it's based on ethnicity, but it shouldn't be. Demonizing a large group of people based on anything, either ethnicity or nationality or religion, as long as it's a large group of people, that is disgusting and vile, and it's dangerous. It's the same thing. It's as bad as anti-Semitism. Listen to this.
Saying all Muslim people are terrorists. And to be clear, I'm not talking on Zoom. It took them about 5 minutes. Israelis, Zionists,
here
bombing them. And you know who hasn't always been kind and friendly to me? Israelis, Zionists.
Israelis, so talking about all Israelis.
I talked to some members of the IDF on Zoom. It took them about 5 minutes to start saying all Muslim people are terrorists. And to be clear, I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about...
So Israel has some people that say all Muslims are terrorists. Well, guess what? United States has people like that. Canada has people like that. Every country has people that will generalize an entire group of people as terrorists. Every single country has that. So what do you want to do? You want to call their people bad entirely? Again, the standards that people have for Israel to be able to consider it a country that they could support is way above and beyond any other country. Because if Israel is evil and bad based on the standards that they wanted to pass, then every country on the planet is evil and bad. But these standards are uniquely applied to Israel and not any other country. And I suspect it's because Israel is Jewish, and this is basically anti-Jewish hatred.
Supporters of the state of Israel, who, with their violent, unhinged, and rude behavior, are turning more and more people away from their cause, away from Zionism. Meanwhile, Muslim people with kindness and friendship are bringing more people towards the cause of Palestine. There were a bunch of students at the student protest recently who converted to Islam. And the mainstream media was like, look at this, see, America's being taken over by Muslims. Now I'm like, I don't blame those kids for converting to Islam at all. The Muslim students were probably super nice and super awesome and super welcoming. And they're like, hey, I'm going to side with these guys against the mostly secular genocidal monsters that we're protesting against. Shout out to all the Muslims.
All right, so let me actually look at how to properly Islam. How about that? Okay, how about that? So he's talking about how Muslims are nice to him and Israelis are not nice to him. Well, let's see, how are you supposed to treat others as a Muslim, right? Let's talk about like Christians and Jews, for example, right? So again, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of Muslims are decent, good human beings, okay? But again, that doesn't mean that Islam teaches them to be like that. Every Muslim that is being a good, decent human being is because they're not properly following Islam. And most Muslims are better than Islam. Always remember this. If Muslims are doing good things, if Muslims are being decent human beings, it's not because of their Islam. It's because their Islam hasn't been able to completely destroy their kindness and humanity. But what Islam, their humanity has resisted, because it's just too much. Like, Islam is just too vile and disgusting for it to be able to completely take down a person. There's a part of their humanity that will resist that, right? And again, these are the examples. So I specifically picked two examples, one from the Quran and one from the Hadith, because this man was specifically talking about treating other people with kindness and respect, okay, and befriending them, right? So here's a Quranic verse, and then we will go to the Hadith. So this is Quran chapter 5, verse 51. Saying, oh, you who have believed, basically, mu'minun, amanu, yeah, people who we refer now to as Muslims. Okay, by the way, the Quranic understanding of people who believe in God and Allah and His Messenger is not Muslim, right? Muslim and mu'min are two different categories. These days, we call them both Muslims, but the Quranic categorization is completely different than how Muslims are using these words today. So mu'mineen and muslimin are two different groups of people, and Technically, if you're a Muslim, you're just submitting without. Again, that's a different topic. I'm not going to get into that. That's an interesting topic. If you ever guys want to talk about that, let me know in the comment sections. Right. So this verse says, all you who have believed, do not take the Jews and the Christians as allies. They are in fact allies of one another. And whoever is an ally to them among you, then indeed he is one of them. Indeed, Allah guides not the wrongdoing people. So basically, this Quranic verse is teaching you to not be allies with Christians and Jews. They are only allies with each other. Muslims should not be allies with Christians and Jews. And if any of the Muslims are allies with Christians and Jews, then they're one of them. They're not one of you Muslims, right? So this is what the Quran teaches. Again, I'm not making this up. You could go look this up. And if you think my interpretation of what's happening here is wrong, just go read the tafsir. Read the tafsir commentary on these Quranic verses. Anybody who says like, no, you don't understand the context, you don't understand the Arabic, blah, 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 blah. If you just search for the tafsir of these verses, you have to understand these are tafsirs that have been written for hundreds and hundreds of years by native Arab speakers who their tafsirs is the base of a lot of Islamic thought. And these are tafsirs that are accepted by all four Sunni Islamic school of thought, right? And again, if all of these people misunderstand these verses, that means that the Quran is a useless book. So either the Quran is a useless book, or it actually means the things that it seems like it's saying. Because either it cannot communicate effectively, so that all these Islamic scholars who speak Arabic perfectly do not understand it, or actually it actually means what it seems like it means, and it's a violent, barbaric, dangerous, unfriendly, anti-human, anti-peace, anti-everything wholesome and good book. Okay, so that's a Quranic verse. Now let me go to, again, there's so many. I just wanted to pick the ones that are specifically relevant to friendship and treating people nice, because that was what the original video was about, right? Let's look at this hadith. And guys, again, every time I'm showing a hadith, because a lot of people understand the position of the Quran in Islam, and they don't understand the position of hadith in Islam. And every time I have to point out that this hadith is Sahih. This is basically, let me see, where we. This is Sahih Muslim, right? Sahih Muslim, and this basically means this is authentic hadith. That means that when they say Prophet Muhammad said this, right? This is Allah's messenger, which is Prophet Muhammad said this. This, when it's Sahih, it means that it's accepted that Prophet Muhammad has said this by all schools of Sunni Islamic schools of thought, because this is Bukhari. Again, we have copies of this in Shia hadith as well, but because this is Sahih Muslim, I would say that this is completely accepted by all four Islamic Sunni schools of thought, right? So this is a foundational, like fundamental part of Islam that it's inseparable from Islam, second only to the Quran. When you see the word Sahih here, right? So what does this hadith say? It says, do not greet the Jews and the Christians. And again, remember, this is what Muhammad said. You see this sign, this little squiggly things here. It says Allah's messenger, and in parentheses it says Sallallahu Alaihi, which means peace be upon Muhammad, right? So that part shows that this is the saying of Prophet Muhammad. So what did he say? He says, do not greet the Jews and the Christians before they greet you. And when you meet any of them on the roads, force him to go to the narrowest part of it. So when you're walking and you see a Jew and a Christian coming, do not say hi to them unless they say hi first, and push them. If you see them like in the center of the road, make sure you push them aside so that they know their position, so that they know that they're not supposed to be walking where Muslims are walking. Okay, so not very nice, I would say. I think you guys would agree. So yeah, you met some Muslims that were very, very nice to you. Well, yeah, those are good Muslims. Many Muslims are good people. Okay, it's not because of Islam. Okay, Islam doesn't teaches them to do so. When you see a Muslim who's being a good person, give that credit to that individual, not to Islam, because if they were following Islam, they shouldn't be acting like that. Let me respond to the super chats, and then we will go to the next video. Thank you so much, Reincarnation Entertainment, for the 50-pound super chat. That's very generous. Thank you so much. Reincarnation Entertainment saying, what is your best argument for why atheism is true? One, because there's no evidence for the existence of God. It's simple, very easy. Two, if we assume God exists, why is Islam still false? If we assume God exists, everything becomes so crazy that anything could be true. Like now we're in the world of magic, and you're not limited by the laws of physics, the laws of math, the laws of logic. Anything goes. So I don't know if Islam will be false if there's a God, because there's no limitations anymore for what would be true. Anything could be true. Christianity could be true. Islam could be true. I don't know, ancient Mayan religions could be true, right? Like anything goes now. You open the door to a whole world of possibilities if there's a God. And also, why is Islam evil? Well, Islam is evil, depends on your definition of evil. My definition of evil is anything that increases human misery and reduces people's happiness. And Islam's teachings are so against all the values that has made the world a greater place, and that's what makes it evil, because everything that makes us prosper, everything that makes us have stability and peace and security and progress, Islam stands against all of that, and that's why it's evil. And Reincarnation Entertainment is saying, I liked and shared the stream. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That really does help, and thank you so much for the very generous super chat. Rama is saying, oh, not Rama, just giving us a super sticker. Thank you so much for the $2 Canadian super sticker. And then no with the 15 shekel super chat saying, Armin, please search the video. This is how Hamas harms the residents of Gaza. Will blow your mind. Okay. I need to write this down. This is how Hamas. Okay, thank you so much for that. I will check that out. I hope it's something that is not violent, so I could show it on YouTube. I know Hamas does a lot of violent things, unfortunately to the people of Gaza, which cannot be shown, unfortunately, to you guys here, because YouTube will strike us down for showing violence. Anyways, let's go to the next video. And which one do I want to show? Let me show this one.
My husband is
Wait, hold on. Let me remove this video. And let me make sure I have everything ready. Okay, let's watch this. Let's watch this all the way through without saying anything. Let me see how long this is. This is like 1 minute video, and then we'll respond to it once it's finished.
My husband is my boss. My husband is number one. If my husband tells me, hey, sit down, I'll sit down. If he tells me you can't go out with your friends today, I'm not going to go out with my friends. If he says, hey, go wash this dish for me, I'm going to go wash the dish for him. I chose this man to be the king of my life, and yes, I agree with everything he says, and I do everything he says. And I did that because I chose this man. I put him in this position in my life, and this is how I honor and take care of and love the man in my life. So I tell women out there, you want a man in your life, you want to be happy, figure out what you would do when you are happy. Because I am happy. My husband does so many great things for me. And I would do that for him. I obey him, I respect him, and I let him be the man that he is. I chose a man that I wanted to follow. I chose someone to lead me, and that's why I will do anything for him. If he tells me jump, I'll jump. If he tells me sit down, I'll sit down. If he tells me go in the room or go up on stage, I will do either or. Anyways, that's a message for everyone out there. Love and cherish the king in your life.
Okay, I'm going to say something that a lot of you are not going to like, okay? A lot of you might not like this, okay? It's completely okay to, I know a lot of feminists also might be angry with what I'm saying right now. it's completely okay to live like that if that is what makes you happy, specifically you happy, right? Like, I know a lot of us want to be like, oh, women should be not living like this, women should not be submitting to their husband. No, they can submit to their husband if it's something that is making both of them happy, the husband and wife happy. If this is their arrangement that they're all both enjoying, that's fine. If I'm the opposite, like maybe you have a husband and wife that the husband is submitting to the wife and both of them are extremely happy with this, go for it. Or a relationship that no one is submitting to anybody and they're both like they are disgusted by the idea of submission. If you don't like that, then don't do that. Both of you are happy with it, then go for it. Okay, whatever makes you happy, just go for that. The problem with what she's saying is not that she's enjoying this. This is great. Do what makes you happy, right? Submit to your husband. Your husband is happy. You are happy. You seem to be loving submitting to your husband. Go for it. The problem with what she's saying is that they say that this is the right way for everyone else. Again, you don't even need Islam to submit to your husband, okay? Somebody might, some people's kink is to submit to their husband, okay? They actually they love that, right? We're not here to tell people not to submit or not to submit. Okay? We're here to tell people, do what makes you happy. If it's submission, submit. If it's not submission, then don't let anybody make you submit to them, right? So again, don't tell women not to, like, especially new feminists, don't tell women not to submit to their husband. It's not up to you. If they want to, they can. But her problem is that she's teaching this on her channel, on her TikTok channel. She's teaching this as the way, that this is the right way, not just for me. If she was saying like, this is what I like and I'm not ashamed of it, and if you guys could go F off if you don't like it, I would be like, yeah, submit to your husband, lady. Good job. That's what makes you happy. But she's not doing that. She's saying that she's teaching other women that this is the correct way, that this is not just what makes me happy, this is what makes you happy. I am telling you that this is also what makes you happy. That's the problem. That's the problem with what she's teaching. Guys, do not go, extreme on the other side. Islam is wrong to tell women to submit, but our reaction should not be to go extreme on the other side and tell women to not submit, because both of them is telling women what to do. Both of them is coming up with a recipe that we think is the correct way and telling people that they have to live their lives this way. Both of them are wrong. But anyways, for people who might think that this is her opinion and this is not Islam, I will show you that this is Islam. Yeah. Guys, people are saying, oh, this is her kink and making fun of it. Don't kink shame people. If this is her kink, then fantastic. I hope she enjoys her kink. Don't kink shame people. Don't kink shame people. Anyways, let me actually show you guys that this is. So again, let's do a Quranic verse and a Hadith. And the Hadith, the Quranic verse that I'm about to show you guys to confirm what she's saying, is the teachings of Islam for women, not a choice for women, a command to women, right? That they have to follow. And the Quranic verse I'm going to show you, I'm pretty sure, like, I think the vast majority of you are now familiar with that Quranic verse. Yeah, people are saying, look at her happy first. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, guys, I get joy out of seeing people this happy. I wish the same way that she doesn't want people to tell her not to tell her how to live. I wish she wouldn't do that for other people, because she is telling people to submit to their husband. But the fact that she's happy, we should be happy for her that she's this happy to submit to her husband. But here, let me actually bring the Quranic verse. I think you guys are familiar with the Quranic verse that I'm about to show you. But the Hadith, I'm almost sure that most of you are not familiar with the Hadith. And it's a crazy Hadith. It's a Hadith that most Muslims are not aware of. And it's insane. And I think most Muslims would think that this is shirk. Like this is getting close to the borders of shirk, which is a sin beyond all other sins in Islam. And most Muslims would think that what I'm showing you is so blasphemous that it cannot be a saying of Muhammad. But let me first show the Quranic verse, and then I will show you the crazy hadith that I'm about to show you. Okay, so this one everyone knows here, but just in case some of you are new or not following Islam that closely, I'm just going to go through this very quickly. This is Quran chapter 4, verse 34. It says, men are in charge of women, by right of what Allah has given one over the other. Basically mean men are superior. Allah has decided that men are superior to women, and that's why men are in charge of women. And why are men superior? Because over and what they spend for maintenance for their wealth. So basically, men are the people who they're the bread bringers. They're the people who bring in the bacon. So that's why they are in charge. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. And it says lightly here in brackets. And again, I have to remind everybody that the lightly is not in the Arabic text, and I will show you that. But if they obey you, once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. So the first part is saying that men are superior to women, and men should be in charge of women. And the second part is saying that if you fear arrogance from your wives, then you're supposed to first advise them. And if you still feel that they're arrogant, then kick them out of your bed. And if they're still arrogant, then strike them. Right. So first point is that you have to notice it doesn't say if they are arrogant, or basically if you actually look at the Arabic text, it's saying if you fear disobedience. Right. So it doesn't say that if they are being disobedient, that you have to do this before they are disobedient. If you just fear disobedience, right way before they are actually disobedient, then you have to do these 3 steps, and one of them includes hitting them. And also notice that it doesn't tell you that you're allowed to hit them. It tells you that it's a command that you should be hitting them. So it's not like an option. This striking your wives is a command by God. So even if you don't want to do it, you're supposed to do it. And also last point is this lightly. Okay, so everything you see in brackets is actually not part of the verse. So if you look at azrabahunna, okay, you don't see any words here that says lightly. So there's 2 interesting things happening here. 2 interesting things is that you could see that the translation, whoever's translating this, is trying to make it seem better than it is by adding lightly here. It's not in the Quranic verse. So there's 2 things that are happening here, right? Either God didn't mean to say strike them lightly, and you just added this to make it seem like this verse is less violent than it actually is, or God actually did mean to strike them lightly. Right. So I think the second one is actually worse. And stay with me here. This might seem, strange that I'm saying that. I say, like, if God actually meant to say lightly, that's actually worse. You should be asking me this. Why would you say that, Armin? Wouldn't it be better if God meant to tell you to strike your wives lightly than without that addition of striking them lightly? So, first of all, hitting your wife lightly or not is like insane. Obviously it's all wrong. Don't strike your wives lightly or otherwise. But think about the implications of if God actually meant to say lightly. That means that this translation actually improved the Quran. So if he didn't mean lightly, then the Quran is actually violent, because it's telling you to hit your wives, and it doesn't tell you to hit them lightly, and that makes it more violent than it didn't add that. But if the Quran actually meant this, because people said the Quran is perfect, that there's no way you could make it better. But if the Quran actually meant to say hit them lightly, then this translation improved upon the Quran but the Quran itself doesn't have any lightly here, but the translation has. This means that the Quran is not perfect, and the translation is an improvement to the actual text of the Quran. That basically dismisses the entirety of the claim of Islam, because the claim, the main miracle of Islam that shows that it's true, is the perfection of the Quranic text. That will, if God actually meant lightly and it didn't say so, and you had to add this here to make it clear, that basically challenges the entire legitimacy of the religion. So that's why I'm saying that would make it worse. Let me go to the hadith that a lot of you haven't seen. By the way, guys, there's 270 people watching this on X or Twitter. Please come over to YouTube and watch us over here on Atheist Republic's YouTube channel, and subscribe to us on YouTube while you're watching. Guys, make sure you're liking the stream. I'm giving you a lot of good information here, all right? So now let me go to the hadith. The hadith. And this is a crazy, crazy hadith. Like, some of you, if you guys understand the implications of these, a lot of you, people who know their Islam a little bit better, if you haven't heard of this hadith, then your jaws should, drop to the floor. Thank you guys for liking the stream. And okay, just to be quite fair and honest with you guys, this hadith is not Sahih, but it's Hasan. Okay? Which means it's pretty damn good. So let me actually make it clear what Hasan is. Hasan hadith meet the criteria for Sahih hadith, but with a slightly lesser degree of precision in the narrator's exactness. Despite this, they are still considered reliable and are used for evidence in Islamic jurisprudence. Hasan hadiths are accepted by most scholars and jurists similarly to Sahih hadiths, but they are recognized as being of slightly lower grade than Sahih. All right, so this is basically, so we have Sahih hadith, we have Hasan hadith, and we have Za'if hadith, which are weak and are not reliable. The hadith that is Hasan, like this one over here, it means that the hadith is correct. The teaching of it is correct. It's just not 100% like dot by dot, word by word, exactly maybe in the same way that Muhammad said it, but it's as reliable enough as a Sahih hadith for it to be able to use it in Islamic jurisprudence and Islamic law and Islamic commands and everything. So Hasan is still the type of hadith is considered acceptable in all four Islamic Sunni school of thought. That's the level that this hadith is at. So I just wanted to be clear that if a hadith is not Sahih but Hasan, I tell you guys that so that you know what we're dealing here. I don't want to exaggerate the authenticity of a hadith. I also don't want to dismiss the authenticity. This is still pretty high grade hadith. It just means that maybe a dot or a verb is just misplaced, but the teaching is correct. All right, so this is the messenger of Allah here, Muhammad, okay, is saying here, do not do that, do not bow to other Muslims. So if you read so somebody was talking to Muhammad, let me go from earlier. Somebody went to Sham and saw that people were, prostrating to their bishops and, to basically humans bowing down to other humans. And this is something, a big no in Islam. This is shirk. This challenges the concept of Tawheed. In Islam, you're not supposed to bow down or prostrate to anything or anyone other than Allah. It's one of the biggest sin. It's actually the biggest sin in Islam. It's such a big sin in Islam that is beyond sin. It's the only unforgivable sin in Islam. If you shirk, your place is in hell forever. Basically, having partners, considering Allah to somebody other than Allah worthy of worship, or to be partners in Allah for worship. Any prostrating to anything other than Allah is considered to basically challenge the concept of Tawheed, which means the oneness of Allah in Islam, and is considered shirk, and it's an unforgivable sin. It's the biggest no in Islam, in Islamic teaching. So that's why it will come to you as a shock when you say that Muhammad's response to that person was this. Muhammad said, do not do that. Do not bow down or prostrate to anyone. If I were to command anyone to prostrate to anyone other than Allah, I would have commanded women to prostrate to their husbands. Tell me, guys, if you have ever heard this before from Muhammad. And then it continues, by the one is whose hand is the soul of Muhammad. Okay, so he's basically the rest of no woman can fulfill. Oh, by the one in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad, he's talking about Allah here. No one can fulfill her duty towards Allah until she fulfills her duty towards her husband. If he asks her for intimacy, even if she is on her camel's saddle, she should not refuse. I actually didn't read this whole thing completely before I selected it here. I didn't know this last part was here. I'm actually quite happy now that I picked this hadith, because this took a weird turn at the end. I was only picked this hadith to show you the first part, which is very crazy. So the second part is funny, but the first part is the crazier one, where Muhammad saying, I would have, if I was to command anybody to prostrate to anybody, I would have commanded women to prostrate to their husbands. And then it says, no woman can fulfill her duty towards Allah until she fulfills her duty towards her husband. And this is very funny. Like, I don't know, Muslims, are there any Muslims here in the live chat? Have you heard of this hadith before? Again, this is a Hassan hadith. You cannot dismiss this as something that is Muhammad did not say. It's Hassan hadith. If you say that this, I do not accept that Muhammad said this, you are basically exiting all four Islamic Sunni schools of thought. You are claiming that you are more of an authority of Islamic teaching than basically all the scholars in Sunni school of thought that you say respect. If as a Muslim you do not accept this hadith, you should not tell us to go and look what the scholars have to say. And I don't know what your source of Islamic teaching is, because this is accepted by all of your Islamic scholars, right? But again, look at Muslim. Are there any Muslim women watching? Muhammad is saying, if your husband asks for sex while you're riding a camel, you should not refuse. It doesn't matter. This is RAPE, by the way, guys. Like, if you are being threatened by hellfire to give sex to your husband, even if you don't want to, that is RAPE. That is forced sex, which is RAPE. You're threatening somebody with torture if they do not give you sex. That is RAPE. They should make a poem out of this. With like a Dr. Seuss poem, in a box with if your husband wants sex, in a box, in a train, I don't know, something. I'm not good with poetry, but you have to turn this hadith. Somebody please make a poetry out of this, on a camel, on a donkey, on an elephant, in a box, outside of, I don't know, under a tree. Do not refuse if your husband wants sex. By the way, this is amazing that Muhammad's attention went immediately to sex when this man was talking. Somebody came to Muhammad and said that I saw some Christians prostrating to their bishops. Should we do that? And Muhammad was like, let me talk to you about women having to give us sex whenever we want them. Like, okay, that was a weird twist of this story. I did not expect that to change like that. But okay, so yeah, you can see where Muhammad is well, and yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that, but anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Let me close these off. How much time do I have? Oh my god, I wish I could finish all of these videos. I have so many good things to show you guys. Are you liking the stream? I am giving you such good information that you do not a lot of people do not have. Okay, I think this is very, and I'm doing it in a very effective way. Let me tell you what my trick is. Okay, instead of just coming here and talking to you about Islam and teaching you about Islam, I trick you with like a interesting Muslim Islamic video, and then I do the teachings after that. Because if I was just teaching you about Islam, a lot of you would be bored. So I have to like first show you a video of somebody saying something, and then you're like, "Ooh, that's crazy. How should we respond to that?" And then I teach you about Islam, and boom, like I got you, right? So this is my trick in teaching more people about Islam. So to attract them with this video at the beginning, right? So that's my trick. If you think this is good, if you think this is a method that works, that might get more people to learn about Islam, please support this channel. Like and subscribe and hit the bell notification and leave a comment after the stream is over. I think this is, if this channel grows, it will be a very effective force against a lot of these teachings. And also support other ex-Muslims that are doing this as well, like Friendly Ex-Muslim, Apostle Prophet, Harris Sultan. These are some of the great channels that I think you should be supporting. Okay, cool. Let me go. How would you have sex on a saddle? On a camel? Can it be done? These people were flexible. Maybe I should. Yeah, never mind. Let me go. Which one should I choose? This is a shorter one, so I will do this one first. Hey, stop. Let me close the ones, all the hadiths and surahs that I've already went over. Yeah, I think. Oh no, this one. No, let me do this one first. This one. This is better because this will just require one verse in the Quran to respond to, that's what I want to do. All right. Let me just do this one. I will do that other video on another day. Make sure you subscribe because those other videos are very good to review as well, and I don't have enough time to go over all of them. Yeah, Nuria Khan as well. Yes, exactly. Nuria Khan is good as well. All right, let's watch this. So let me unhighlight everything so that we watch this video fully, and then we will go to your comments.
Do not post yourself without hijab, even if you're not wearing hijab in real life. Before you go scream at me in the comment section, look at the first thing that comes up when you search my name. Even if you think, oh, I'm not gonna wear it for such a long time, no. Don't. People will try to find those and dig it up. You never know what's gonna happen in the future. Maybe you might blow up in like 5 months, and then everyone's gonna save your videos and like have that upper hand on you. You never know.
Okay, so do you understand who she's talking to? My understanding is, based on what she's saying, is she's talking about two women who are already Muslim but have not yet decided to put on the hijab, but are planning to at some point make that commitment. And she is warning them to do it right away because their pictures without hijab is online, and she has become famous. So this is a viral video, and she's like big on TikTok right now, and her videos are getting millions of views and hundreds of thousands of likes. And she's telling people that when people search my name right now, my picture, think about it. Oh my God, the tragedy here, the humanity, this is such a she's like trying to scare you. One day you might blow up as much as I, like not in the Allahu Akbar blow up kind of way, but in like a social media kind of way. One day you might blow up as much as I did, and when people search your names, your pictures without the hijab are the first thing that will show up, and they will see you without the hijab. So make the commitment earlier. So like with that context, let's actually listen to it again to see if you have the same understanding as I had or not. Because she cannot be, she's talking to women who are not wearing the hijab, but she cannot be talking to women who are not wearing the hijab, who are not Muslims, because they are not considering ever wearing the hijab. So let me also give you another explanation. In Islam, once you become a Muslim, or if you're a Muslim, if you are sinning, if you're not doing Islam properly, you could still be okay. Because as long as at some point you commit to following Islam more properly, and do tawbah, meaning like repenting for your sinful ways before, all your sins before will be forgiven. So that's why a lot of Muslims are saying, a lot of new Muslims or a lot of people who are still Muslim but are not living Islamic lives, they say like, you know what, I know this is wrong, but I'm easing into it. You know, I know I shouldn't be drinking alcohol. I know I shouldn't be going to parties. I know I should be wearing the hijab, but I am easing my way into it. And once I do it, because I will repent that I'd lived a sinful life before, I'm not going to pay the price for it in hell. I'm not going to get burned for it because I repented and I'm good now. It's going to be clean, right? So usually the reaction by Muslims to some other Muslims who are saying like, no, just do it right now, is that you could die. That's what they say. They're like, you don't know when you're going to die. Like you're like drinking alcohol or not wearing the hijab or having sex, and like, it's okay. One day I will stop doing this and I will repent and Allah will forgive me because I repented. But the problem with that is you could just like get hit by a bus tomorrow. You don't know. And and that's why a lot of Muslims like share stories of somebody dying unexpectedly, like something falling on their head, and like, oh my God, they have to pay for their sins, right? So they scare you with that. They like, you could die like any second. Nobody knows. Only Allah, Allahu Alam. Only Allah knows when somebody is going to die. So start living Islamically this very second. Don't leave it off for tomorrow. So that's the main way that people say that. But apparently the new way is like, guys, if you're without hijab on social media, even when you have the hijab, now people are going to see you without hijab even after. So that's what she's saying here. So let's listen to it one more time.
Do not post yourself without hijab, even if you're not wearing hijab in real life. Before you go scream at me in the comment section, look at the first thing that comes up when you search my name. Even if you think, oh, I'm not going to wear it for such a long time, no. Don't. People will try to find those and dig it up. You never know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe you might blow up in like 5 months and then everyone's going to save your videos and like have that upper hand on you. You never know.
Don't worry, you're not going to blow up. That's a very rare thing. Hold on.
Do not post yourself without hijab, even.
So yeah, so she's actually saying if you're not wearing hijab right now, just don't post pictures of it. Okay, so that's what she's saying.
If you're not wearing hijab in real life. Before you go scream at me in the comment section, look at the first thing that comes up when you search my name. Even if you think, oh, I'm not going to wear it for such a long time.
Okay, so so she's not saying do it right away. She's saying even if you're taking your time to eventually wear the hijab, at least don't post your pictures without the hijab right now, right? So maybe like, for example, you still don't have the hijab, you're walking in the streets without the hijab, but at least have it on social media. Why would you post your pictures anyways if you're wearing the hijab? Like nobody can tell that. Like, what's the point? I mean, you do have beautiful eyes to be. Okay, guys, what do I do if I'm a Muslim woman and people are attracted to my hijab? I've been asking that for a long time, and nobody is giving me a proper answer, right? Because the point of hijab is so that men are not attracted to you, and that is supposed to give you security and stuff. And I will show you the Quranic verse that shows that this is about attraction, because a lot of people think that this is my culture, this is my identity, blah 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 blah. But the hijab has two purposes. One is to separate free Muslim women from women slaves, to show that you are a free property of a Muslim man. Well, not property in the sense of a slave, but property in the sense of a higher form of property, right, than slaves. So in the same way that Islam teaches adult Muslim women to wear the hijab, it also teaches you for slaves to not wear the hijab. Like slaves of Muslims, female slaves of Muslims, who are technically sex slaves, are forbidden from wearing the hijab because they should not be looking like free Muslim women, right? So the main purpose is to show that you are the wife or a daughter of a Muslim man and you're a free Muslim woman and you're not one of the slaves. That's the number one. The second purpose is to protect the property, a higher end property, like the slaves are lower end property and the wives and daughters are high-end property, to demonstrate that, to protect you from the gaze. So your slaves are, you don't need to protect your slaves from the gaze of men, because you actually might want to attract other men to look at your slaves, because then you could sell them for a higher price. So you see, basically the categorization of your properties are my wives and my slaves. My wives are only for me, because the wives are supposed to be show demonstration of unity with another tribe, my standing within society, and it's specific, is for me and only me and no one else. So I'm trying to protect this property, which is not sellable, from other men, right? But then you have other properties who are slaves. These are, you could use them to have, sex with, you could sell them, you could do whatever you want with them, you could take their lives, you could treat them in different ways, right? However, these, well, take their lives in specific cases, not all cases. Like, we could get into those details later, right? But these are, because these are sellable, you do not need to protect them from other men's gaze. In fact, you shouldn't be, because you're not, you don't even want them specifically for you. If you want them only for you, you would free them and then you would marry them. That's how it works. Actually, you don't even need to free them to marry them. Never mind. And we're getting into so much detail, right? So that's the purpose of hijab. And to show you that I'm correct about all of these purposes, I don't even need to bring up Hadith. I could just show you Quranic verses, right? So let's go to the Quranic verse and show you what the purpose of hijab is. Okay, so no, not this one. This one? Yes. All right, so let's go through this. This is a big verse. This is Quran chapter 24, verse 31. So this is a very interesting Quranic verse. So bear with me. You're not going to get disappointed. Oh, thank you guys for all the oh yeah, sorry, Dolly. Dolly is telling me what is the video's name. Okay. This video's name is Muslim advising women to not post themselves without hijab. And this one, oh yeah, I forgot to do all of this. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, Dolly. I made your life a lot more difficult. I could send you the names after the stream is over. This one was from the TikTok channel, Defiantly Not, FLAVIA. Okay, so sorry about that, Dolly. Next time, remind me at the beginning to mention the names of the video. All right, so and thank you for the super chats. I will read them after this. So this is the verse, right? It says, and tell the believing woman to reduce some of their gaze, some of their vision, and again the sum is in brackets. But let's see, what does it mean? Looking only at what is lawful and averting their eyes from what is unlawful. So basically means don't look at, it's telling women to don't look at sexy men, right? So do not look at sexy men. Do not get horny. Telling women, do not make yourself horny by looking at sexy men. So that's the first part of the verse. And then it says, chat, and guard their private parts and not expose their adornment. So let's see what this means. Both natural beauty, such as hair or body shape, and that with which a woman beautifies herself, of clothing, jewelry, etc. Right? So the first part of the verse is telling women not to look at sexy men or women if they find women sexy, and also to guard to hide their body, or jewelry or clothes. Basically, do not expose anything that is appealing. Their shape of their body, their boobs, their private parts, or their jewelry or their sexy clothes that they're wearing. Hide all of that, except that which necessarily appears thereof. So what does this mean? So the parts that you could show is the outer garments, or whatever might appear out of necessity, such as parts of the face or the hand. So your face can show, your hands can show, or anything of the like your clothes. If you have tight clothes, that tight clothes should not show, but the garment on top of it, for example, can show because it doesn't show the shape of your body. And to wrap a portion of their head covers over their chests and not expose their adornment, i.e., beauty, except to their husbands. Oh, now it gets very interesting. Okay, the people that can, so all of these things that you're supposed to hide, your beauty, your body, everything except your hands and face, your jewelry, the shape of your body, and all of that you need to hide, but you don't need to hide it from certain groups of people. And that is going to be very telling. Who are the people that you do not need to hide all of this from? Right? Number one, your husbands. So if you're a woman, you could go without a hijab in front of your husband, obviously. Your father, their husband's fathers. Okay, that's, I don't know why. Your husband's father can see you without hijab, apparently. Their sons. So I'm thinking this is talking about, oh no, yeah, your own sons. Like, so you as a mother could be without hijab in front of your adult son. Their husband's sons, so step son. So I don't know if this should be, I question this because the husband's father might really like the wife. So I don't know if you should do this. And a lot of, I've been told based on the categories on adult films, a lot of people are into their stepmother. So I don't know if this part is okay, which is their husband's sons. So you can be without a hijab in front of your husband's sons that are not your own sons, your stepsons. So I don't know. I question that. This is like, you should not allow that if you were being very Islamic. So I think Quran could not, whoever wrote the Quran could not imagine people being into their stepmother. But again, go look at the category. It does exist. Their brothers. So you do not have to wear the hijab in front of your brother. Their brother's sons. Okay, so you could see your auntie with their hijab. Their sister's sons, their women. So this part is interesting. Their woman. It doesn't say woman. It says their woman. Why do you think it doesn't say woman and it says their woman? I actually went and looked this up. It's actually quite strange. Let me see if I could bring up the reason for that. This is very interesting reason. So you're not supposed to, you shouldn't have to wear the hijab as a woman in front of any woman. I always assumed that it's okay for women to be without hijab in front of all women. But here it doesn't say all women. It just says their woman. Anybody has any theories for why it says their woman? Because I went and looked this up, and it's actually quite interesting, based on the most famous sources of Hadith. I want to see if anybody guesses this. No. Their woman is talking not about sex slaves. It's not talking about sex slaves. It should be saying that women could be allowed to show their private parts or their hair or body in front of all women. But it says their woman, a specific kind of woman. So when it says their woman, it means not all women. So which woman should you be covering yourself in front of? If you're a Muslim woman, apparently you should be wearing the hijab even in front of women. No, so I think nobody. No. I looked this up in the Hadith, and this is the explanation that I got. So their woman here means Muslim woman. Isn't that interesting? So why is it say Muslim woman? Meaning that your own woman, like Muslim that belong to the Ummah, to the Muslim community. Meaning that you should be wearing hijab. If this tafsir that I'm reading is correct, it means that Muslim women should continue wearing their hijab in front of non-Muslim women. And based on this commentary that I read, this is the explanation. And this is based on Ibn Kathir, which explains that their woman refers specifically to Muslim women and advises caution around non-Muslim women to prevent any potential breach of privacy. Basically, what this means is that Muslim women are advised to maintain their hijab and modesty in front of non-Muslim women. The rationale is to prevent non-Muslim women from describing the Muslim woman's physical appearance to non-Muslim men, potentially compromising their modesty and privacy. Did you guys know this? This is interesting. Did you guys ever hear about this? This is according to Ibn Kathir, which is what the main source of Islamic tafsir, commentary on the Quran. So that's why it says their woman, meaning Muslim woman, and not women in general. This is crazy. All right, and then it continues and it says that which their right hand possesses. Oh, this is the slave part. Okay. So women, so we're going through the list of people that you don't need to wear hijab in front of. And this, what is this? That which their right hand possesses means slaves. So you are not required to wear the hijab in front of your slaves, both male and female. Right? You don't have to worry about your male slaves becoming horny because they're seeing you. It doesn't matter. They don't have any agency. They could get horny all they want. They would not dare do anything to you because they will be like, they're slaves. Like they will be put in their place, right? So it's interesting because look at the two things that they are right next to each other, right? So apparently you are supposed to wear the hijab to protect your privacy from non-Muslim women, but male slaves you could be without hijab in front of. Isn't that interesting? So if you have a male slave as a woman in Islam, if you have a male slave and a Christian woman, you should wear the hijab in front of that Christian woman, but you do not need to wear your hijab in front of your male slave. You could be even naked in front of him. You could be walking naked in front of your male slave, but you should cover everything in front of a female Christian because you cannot trust her. She might go and describe your beauty to a Christian man. Oh no. Right? Weird. Or children. You don't need to wear your hijab in front of children. And this part is very interesting. Children who are not yet aware of their private aspects of women. So children who are basically... So this is actually very intelligent by the Quran. It says, or children who are not yet aware of private aspects of women. Because I think the Quran knew some kids get... I had sexual desires. I specifically had sexual desires. I noticed women being sexy since I was 4 years old. 4 years old, right? I remember when I was 4, I would go when people were invited to our house, when there were parties and stuff, I would go hide under the couch and table so I could watch women's legs. And, that's what I would do that as a 4-year-old. So I think the Quran is saying when it says children who are not yet aware of their private aspects of women, because the Quran knew about kids like me, that we were like, we got horny early, right? So maybe what it's saying here is that if these children are like me, you need to wear the hijab in front of these damn kids as well. These kids that have that mindset early on. So if you notice that these children do not have sexual desires, then you do not need to wear the hijab in front of them. But if one of these kids is like Armin, then wear your hijab in front of them as well. Right? So some kids you just happen to get there earlier than others, right? And so apparently the Quran was aware of that. And let them not... here's it gets actually even more interesting. It says, and let them not stamp their feet to make known what they conceal of their adornment. This is talking about jewelry that you wear around your ankles. And if you stomp your feet, because you could wear jewelry as a Muslim woman, but you should hide it because nobody should see that. Okay. And if you're wearing jewelry around your anklet and you're hiding it, do not walk in a way that will make them, that the jewelry will make sound. So you're supposed to hide the jewelry, but you're also supposed to hide the jewelry from making noises. Because if you stomp your feet too hard, then the men could hear the sound of your anklets, and that could make them horny. So do not walk so in a way that people could hear that. Where was that part? Or children who are not yet aware of their private aspects, and let them not stamp in the feet to make known what they conceal of their adornment, and turn to Allah in repentance, all of you believers, that you might succeed. There's one part that is missing. Their woman and which their right hand possesses, or the male attend. Oh wait, I forgot this part. I was looking for this part. Where is that part that I wanted to highlight the most? Okay, I skipped this one. So between the slaves and the children, there was this one that makes it clear what the purpose of the hijab is, right? Or those males attendants having no physical desires. So if you happen to be a man who's asexual, so the asexuals are mentioned in the Quran, men with no sexual desires, right? I don't know if it's talking about gay men or just asexuals. Is it talking about sexual desire towards women or sexual desire in general? This could be talking about gay men as well. I don't know. Does this mean that women can show up without hijab in front of gay men? Let me know. But there's a footnote for number 4, which says, referring to abnormal condition in which a man is devoid of sexual feeling. So based on this, these footnotes come from the tafsir. So based on this footnote, it's talking about asexuals. So if you happen to notice a man for being asexual, you do not have to wear the hijab in front of him either. Also, this refers to, unfortunately, this led to a lot of men being castrated. Okay, especially during the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman Muslims. They needed guards for their harems to protect the wives of the sultan, and these men their balls were chopped off so that they become men with no physical desire, so they could be around women. A lot of men were like, I think this is the verse that I don't know. Yeah, actually they're slaves, so you don't need to chop off their balls. That was mostly a security reason, I think. But yeah, a lot of men lost their balls because of verses like this. Anyways, this is interesting. Have you guys ever seen this verse? Has this verse been analyzed like this ever for you guys before? Did you learn anything? Let me know if you learn anything from these streams, because I like to see. I do read your comments after the show, and I always like to see people who say that, oh, this was interesting, or I learned something. Gives me a lot of energy when I notice when people say that they learned something from the show. Yeah. Okay, guys. Sorry, Dolly, for not mentioning the names of the videos. Let me know. I will send you the name of each video so you could cut it properly after the show. Guys, please. I'm gonna go get ready for the Persian show on the sister channel of Atheist Republic. So I need to go now. But please do not leave. Do not leave the show without liking the stream. I need every single one of you to like the stream so that this channel grows. And if you're not subscribed, what the hell? Don't you see how amazing the information here is? Like, this is fun. It's entertaining. It's educating. And if our channel grows, we will be able to fight this Islamic nonsense even more. So please subscribe to this channel. Please hit the bell notification. Please recommend the Atheist Republic YouTube channel to your friends and your enemies. And the comments really help. Like, the more comments you leave after the show is over, the faster the channel grows. Oh, I forgot the super chats. Thank you so much, Dolly, for highlighting these. Dolly, you have my back. It's amazing. So apostate prostate, okay, is saying, Brianna Joe Gray got fired for her behavior. Okay, interesting. I will look into that. Thank you so much for the super chat. You should do so, and then the next super chat's about same Apostate Prostate saying you should do another video with AP and David Wood. I would go there whenever I'm invited. I'm not going to invite myself there. Okay, so if any, and I'm not going to go be like invite me. Okay, whenever I'm invited, I will go there. If you guys want me there, just maybe mention it in the comment section. I want to invite David Wood because Apostate Prophet has been on Atheist Republic. I have been on Apostate Prophet channel. Oh, David Wood has also been on Atheist Republic, but I want to bring David Wood back to Atheist Republic as a guest, and also maybe Apostate Prophet will be coming as a guest on this channel. Yeah, I've been on Apostate Prophet's channel a couple of times now. We should bring them on our channel at some point, right? Anyways, thank you guys. The channel is growing because of you guys. Our channel is growing faster than ever. I think we could hit 100K at some point. But the speed that we're going, I think it might come sooner than I anticipated, and that is thanks to all of you guys. So we're, I know it might take a couple of years, but it's faster than I thought. So thank you guys. Thank you for all the support. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, so if you speak Persian, I'm gonna start my show on the Persian channel. For people who don't know, this is our English channel. Atheist Republic is the English channel, and the Persian sister channel is called Jumhuriya Bi Khodayan, which means Atheist Republic in Persian. That is mostly for an Iranian audience. And every time I do an English show, after that I go do the Persian show. Usually I go do the Persian show right after. So I'm now going to go get ready for that. Thank you all, and till next time. Bye.